Hello guys, today I'm going to be talking about networking and building sustainable relationship. A few weeks back, I was facilitating a section around networking and I was able to have conversations with some of the participants about what networking meant to them and how they've been able to use those networking sections that they've attended to kind of like progress their career. If you're joining this channel for the first time, I am Ioron-Aloho and I share tips on project management and lifestyle. Like I said, today I'm trying something really different. I'm doing this section out of the moment time, so it's not really prepared and all of that, but hoping that you're able to find value in it. What is networking for you? What is networking for me? When you hear about networking, what is the first thing that comes to mind? I know we've been to several networking sections and events. Whenever we hear networking, we're trying to, I want to connect with this person who is maybe influential in this particular aspect so that they help me grow my career or give me opportunities and stuff like that. Now, for a lot of people, when they hear the word networking, it also gives them like a negative vibe because they just feel like they're going to those spaces to meet people who want to either become social climbers, to get something from them, and so on. For me, the right word I always use is building sustainable relationship. It's networking still, but you want to build and move from just networking with someone to building an actual relationship with a person who would be able to actually support you and you're also able to support the person. Networking has to be very mutual. It should be beneficial to the both parties. It shouldn't be one-sided where one person keeps giving opportunities, one person keeps receiving, and the other person doesn't get value from that particular relationship. This is why a lot of networking events are not maybe beneficial to people, because after you've gone for this event, you've given out your business cards and all of that, you go home, you try to contact those persons, nobody answers you again. What are some of the mistakes you think can happen for people to do this? Now, in the section I had, some of the things I shared with them were this. Imagine you had someone who was really influential, a CEO or founder of a really big company, and they have access to a lot of people. At that particular event, when people see them at those events, every single person wants to move on to that person. If you have 5-6 person at an event, most likely people will think to that person who is popular and influential on social media or have a social media networking skills and all of that. That's the person people would tend to more. And by the time every single person is going to that person, imagine at that particular event, he has like 15-16 contacts. Afterwards, it might be very difficult for that person to even remember you. So when you try to call or any of those kind of things, the person is not even able to remember that, this was somebody I met at this event, this was somebody I met at this event. And this is why it's a mistake. When you go for an event, the likely thing is not for you to always meet the person with the biggest title or the person with the biggest portfolio. I know people always read portfolios before going for events, and people already in their mind have kind of like cast their net on who they are going to meet. But sometimes the person you're trying to meet that has a big name and all might not necessarily have time to help you build your career as well, or have time to build that relationship you're looking for. When you look for somebody else who maybe is your peer, somebody who would have the same interests as you, somebody who is maybe in the same sector, the same industry, that would be a more beneficial relationship to you than somebody else who maybe is just there, well known, but doesn't really have time to really support you in that. When you're trying to network, these are some of the things that you want to look into. Who is that person you're reaching out to? Is it the name or the title that matters to you? Is it the industry or the sector that matters to you? What exactly do you want to gain from this person? Do you want somebody who is able to share expertise and skills based on what they do? Or do you want to meet with someone who basically they are sharing opportunities to you because of the kind of platform they have? By the time you've done your research on the people that are attending an event, you want to meet them and maybe have conversations with them. It's also very important for you to have conversations with people who look like you. There are other people who are also trying to meet some of those people, but you want to meet someone who is like you because, like I said, sometimes it's not about the big title. Somebody might be really, really influential, but they don't have the big title. They don't dress shouty. So you might not necessarily put them on the high level and feel like, this person is this person is that, and all of that. And then you lose out on the very good chance of actually building a relationship with someone who can actually help you. Now, A lot of times I've gone for events and all of that. There were times where I met people who I felt like, oh, this person is in this sector, maybe he's a lawyer like me, let me have a conversation with this person. There were things I was going to learn from this person, or this person is artistic, or this person shared about maybe reading the book. That's something that I also have in common with this person. Let me try to engage with this person and see what kind of ways we could work together in future and all of that. The next thing I try to do is I get your number there, we have conversations, I'm sending you a message right there as we're in that section. I'm not going home to send you a message because you'll be easily forgettable. I try to talk about the things that I've done in the past, but again, you're trying to build a common goal. What does this person have that both of you can leverage on? Who is this person? What have they done? I've written books, I've done projects. What kind of project? In what space do I work? Is it educational? Is it gender? By the time you're having these conversations with people, then they begin to see, oh, this person has the similarities with me. Or I'm actually working on a project where I need an illustrator to do something, or I need somebody to create a storyboard for me. This person will likely fit into that, and let me build that relationship with the person. Then you're already building yourself to make yourself an unforgettable person in that person's mindset. By the time the person leaves that particular section or program, the person still remembers you. By the time you send a message, the person is now reaching out to you or responding to you based on, oh, we connected at this particular program. It's not now by, oh, who was this person? Did they say something? Another way again is when you go for programs or you meet someone, it's very, very important for you to stand out. How do you stand out? Now, one of the biggest mistakes I did when I first started attending sections, going for programs and all of that was, I was very into myself. I would go for programs. Are there questions to be asked? I would never ask any questions. Are there questions to be answered? I would never answer any questions. I was just like in my own shell. And in a way, it felt like I was intimidated, sort of. And I feel like maybe in the first years, that was how it seemed like for me. I couldn't really share a lot. And after I left that event, there was one life-changing event I had attended. And that was what made me see that it's okay to be quiet and not so out there, but it's very important to leave a mark as well. And that's the best way to actually network, that people are also able to remember you and come to you. What skills do you have? If somebody wants to meet up with you, they're meeting you based on, this person has this to offer me, this is why I want to go to this person. When I attended this program, I didn't do any of overboard kind of thing, no question asking, no question answering, no creativity. I just attended. Whatever anybody said, I would agree with them. I left that program, and a few months down the lane, we're in the WhatsApp group and everybody will be chatting, they'll be sharing stuff together. Nobody ever mentioned my name. If I try to say something, or if I'm trying to do a project and I post, I discover that my engagement was really low in the WhatsApp group because I was very forgettable. Nobody remembered what I did that was really outstanding. Nobody wanted to really connect with me. And then I started asking myself, what did I do wrong in that particular section? Started learning from other people. Then I remember the people that actually really stood out for me in that particular program as well. What made them really stand out? Why do I remember them? And then I went, after I did all of this research, I was like, this next program I'm going to make sure that nobody forgets who I am. When I went for this program, the intention was to network, but I was going to network indirectly. Now, when I went there, I made sure that I asked questions. I made sure that I was also answering the questions that were asked. Even if I didn't understand them really, I was sharing based on my own perspective. Because I was sharing and it was relatable. A lot of people could relate to some of the things that I was saying. And then people were seeing from the kind of responses I was giving, the skills that I had, the expertise that I had, the knowledge that I had. Even after some particular sections, people will come to me and they'll be like, oh, you answered this particular question. Can you talk about this as well? And I'll be able to offer my own knowledge about those particular topics they wanted. And we did this over and over within 3 days. And by the time we left that program, every single person remembered my name because I made sure that if they were asking for support in any area, we need volunteers for this, I would put myself up. We need people to do this, I would put myself up because I wanted to make myself unforgettable. And I didn't want to go to people and start meeting them to say, oh, I want to connect with you to do this. I know that regardless, I will still be forgettable when I leave. Trying to now support people, offering my skills to people was the one thing that made people remember me. If they go home later on, they're going to remember that person that helped them, maybe supported them with a sticky note, somebody who lent them a pen, somebody who answered the question and shared her experience about maybe a gender issue that happened in Lagos, or something around education that happened in Benue, or a project that had to do with funding, or a project that had to do with a failure, and then later on how that failure basically made you come up again. Bits and bits of all of these things were some of the things that I did that changed how I started networking with people and building relationship afterwards. How are these relationships sustained? After these programs, we leave, and then basically we're looking for how do we work together next time. I have this very lovely project I want to do, but I have 3 or 4 persons that I know the skills that they have, and if I meet with them, these are the ways that they can support for this project. I reach out to them, I'm like, can we collaborate on this? Notice that I'm not reaching out to ask for support on a particular thing, like not financial. I'm not reaching out to say, oh, can you do this for me? Can you send me an opportunity? Basically, let's collaborate on this. And by that collaboration, even if somebody now says, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm not able to collaborate with you this time, but next time I will do it. They now know the area where I'm working. They know the things that interest me. So next time, by the time they start seeing opportunities around those areas, they send to me. When I see in those areas as well, I send to them. The relationship has become very beneficial. When somebody sees something and it's gender or education or stuff like that, the first thing that comes to the person's mind is, oh, I think Gunan does something around this area, so let me send this to Gunan if I'm not able to do it. Or myself and Gunan can actually work in this area together. So that's how you start putting yourself in people's mind. That's how you start building this relationship, give and take, where you're supporting, they're also supporting. I have like an event, a project where I'm not collaborating with this person, but I need a facilitator. I'm able to say, oh, you have these skills. I would really love for you to come and talk to my volunteers or talk to some of the participants who have for a particular project. And then afterwards, they're like, Gunan has skills in this as well. I want Gunan to maybe facilitate a program for me as well. And then I'm also able to support in that regard. So doing all of that, you put yourself in each other's mind. Sustainably, you're always having conversations with each other. It's not something where you disappear. When you need help, you come back to the person. You're having conversations, you're doing check-ins. How is your project going? What's happening? Do you need any support? Do you need any advice? And then you see, you don't always need to even collaborate. You don't always need to facilitate a program for them. It could be as simple as giving an advice on a topic or a way that they are working on something, and then you've supported that person already. This is how you build relationship. It's not about, and this is the mistake people make, so it's not about, oh, when you see opportunities, can you send for me? You never have a conversation with this person. 3, 4, 10 months later, you come back, oh, do you have this particular thing you can give me again? Now, let me tell you one very strange story about how networking didn't work. There's a particular organization where when I started, I was always supporting their facilitation programs. Yearly, they would have events and invite me, and I would always like maybe support those programs. But immediately after that program is done, that session is done, they never communicate with me again. Like, we don't have that sustainable relationship. There are no check-ins all through the year, except in that particular month when my help is needed again yearly, and then they reach out again. I've been doing that consistently for 3 years, and in this year that question was asked again, and they came. No check-ins, no nothing. And then that once in a month time again, the person now reached out. They're like, oh, we're having this program again, we would really love for you to facilitate. I'm like, this will be the 4th year in a row, and at each time it happens at the same month. It's not beneficial to me. I'm sharing my advice, I'm sharing my own experience and all of that, which is good. But it gets to a point where you now start thinking deeply, how does this also advance me, right? And for me, it wasn't, because at some point I wasn't seeing how I was also appreciated. And then I was like, oh, I'm sorry, at this point I can't do this. You see, that ended. But that relationship could have been sustained by just normal check-ins. Oh, how have your project been going? Do you need any support from us as well? Those kind of things. Then you feel like, oh, this person sees you. You also see the person. You want to keep supporting that particular person. But where there is none of that, there's just silence until the next call. Basically, you don't feel like, oh, there's anything more I can give to these people. I've given and given, and they just keep taking and taking. So there's nothing more that I could give. and then it just basically dies there. That is what networking does to a lot of people, because that is how it dies, because you're not able to sustain it. You reach out to someone, once you've gotten what you want, you let go. Once you need again, you come. And that's how the cycle continues. That's not beneficial. When you're trying to network or build relationship, you want to be able to put yourself in that person's mind. You want to be able to support. In the recent program that we had, and this was discussed in the section that I facilitated as well, there were a few people, quite a few people that were very memorable for me based on how they participated in that event. But also because there were some of them who walked up to me, and because I was also taking pictures and doing videos during the program, and someone came up to me and was like, "Oh, Gunan, you're doing this, you're supporting and managing this event, and you're still taking pictures and videos. Can I help you with the camera? Can I take this off your shoulder?" I'm like, "Oh, well, thank you." I remember that person's name, like I had it in my head. So when the time came for us to write letters, notes of appreciation, I remember that this person came up to me and offered to help. This is somebody who, if the person comes back to me, in a way of paying back, I'll be like, "Oh, I remember this person, he did this and that for me. Let me do something nice for this person as well." When you're trying to gain somebody's approval, somebody's support, you want them to help you do something, you should also be open to doing something for them. Now, there's something Temilade, you all might know Temilade, very popular on socials, shares a lot about her development journey as well and all of that. I follow her and I learned a lot of inspirational things from what she does. One of the key things she said at a point was, I think she was having a conversation around mentorship, and she was talking about indirect and direct mentoring. And this was some of the things that led to that conversation as well, where a lot of people were just basically reaching out and they were like, "Oh, can you mentor me? Can you mentor me?" And for people who are really busy, like one person having 3,000 people, for example, reach out to them that they want to be mentored. That's not something a human being can do, right? You're not able to mentor 3,000 people. You wouldn't have the capacity to do that. But people basically won't understand. But she spoke about the fact that you can actually not meet somebody to be a mentor for you, because you can be getting mentorship from this person in an indirect way. So this is how networking also serves you indirectly. Are you reading books from this person that inspires you? There are opportunity books. There are people who share opportunities on their social media platforms, on Twitter, on Instagram. Do you follow them? There are people who have their website that maybe you've never visited before. And when you visit this website, they share this knowledge, this experience of stuff that they have. For example, my YouTube channel is one place where if you go to, you learn about the projects that I'm working on, the failures that I've had, some tips and tricks on making your project really sustainable, all of those kind of things. If I have 3,000 people reaching out to me on daily basis, asking me to tell them particular things about project management, that won't be sustainable, because I won't be able to answer everyone's question. But if you're going on my YouTube, for example, that's an easy way to connect with me indirectly, where you're not coming to reach out to me to support you on something, but with the knowledge that I'm already sharing based on those already existing resources, you're able to gain from those things. That is an indirect form of mentorship and networking. I'm sharing opportunities on my status, on my WhatsApp status. I'm sharing on Instagram. I'm sharing on Twitter. I have a website where I share opportunities as well. I have a YouTube channel where I share knowledge about some of these. On my Facebook, I share experiences on project as well. Basically, that's what my life is all about, sharing experiences that I've had. If I'm trying to give an advice or inspire people, I try to use experiences or things that I've gone through as well to kind of like couch the messages that I send out there. If you're somebody who follows me already, you should be benefiting from those areas. You should be benefiting from my organizational page where you see the projects that I'm doing, you follow up on all of those kind of things. I don't need to be mentoring you directly for you to learn from me. I don't need to be your direct networker for you to benefit from me. You don't need to have my phone number for you to benefit from me, because you're indirectly following me and doing some of these things, going to see some of the resources that I share. You're already a beneficiary of that. And this is one key thing that a lot of people fail to understand, because not every single person will have that capacity to support you on the level that you want. It's impossible, right? So there are ways that you would be able to gain from someone without necessarily making it uncomfortable for them or making it look like They're supposed to support you, but they are not giving you enough support. And then to some certain extent, it now gets to a point where it becomes entitlement. And then people now start feeling like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that, I can't support this person enough. The relationship becomes really bad because the person starts supporting you. Along the way, again, the person becomes tired. Because if the person also doesn't send you a message, you don't send back. If the person doesn't respond to something you said, you don't also respond. Sometimes the person shares opportunities to you and you don't even give feedback. If I'm sharing, let's say, opportunities, and in a row, maybe I've shared like 5-6 opportunities to you, and you've never come back to me to say, oh, I applied for this, I didn't get it, this was what happened, this is the lesson that I learned from this, and this is how I'm going to replicate that into the next opportunity that I'm going to handle. If you don't come back and say, oh, I was accepted into this opportunity, thank you so much for sharing, all those kind of stuff, the person just shares and you say thank you, no feedback, no nothing, there comes a time where the person will stop sharing because they don't know how the opportunities they share to you are beneficial to you. I hope that we're able to learn now how very important networking is and building sustainable relationships, but also how it's very important to water those seeds that you plant. How it's very important for it to be like a give and take, mutually beneficial relationship, and how you can also network with someone indirectly and even get mentored by them indirectly by using the resources that they get to share online. So I hope that with this you're able to restructure your thoughts around networking. And if you want to learn more about networking again, I would direct you to follow Inspire Her Africa. That was the organization that invited me the last time for the networking section. We have a 3-hour video on the networking sections and some of the activities that we did as well. You will be sure able to benefit from that knowledge. Follow Inspire Her Africa. Check the YouTube channel. I will try to input that on the comment section of this video as well, and then you're able to look at that and then come back to me with questions. In my next video, I would also try to be answering questions that people directly come to me for, and I'll just share that in one video where everyone can listen, and hopefully that's able to help you. Until next time, I'm your favorite project manager. Gonna see you.